Two teams on parallel paths. The A's visit Chicago to face the White Sox in a 3-game set beginning on Tuesday. And I have Todd Welter, host of Locked On White Sox, to preview the series today on a crossover episode with Locked On White Sox.
You are Locked On MLB Crossover, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Crossover, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. I am your host, Booney. One name, all passion. Thank you for making Locked On Crossover, Locked On A's, and Locked On White Sox your first listen of the day. I'm from the Bay Area, and I've been a diehard A's fan since 1981. This isn't just another A's podcast. This is the most informative and insightful show on the A's, period. We cover the A's every single day, breaking down games, delivering the latest team news, and giving you deep, thoughtful analysis you will not find anywhere else. If it's happening in Sacramento or in Vegas, we got you covered. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube. And please hit that subscribe button wherever you are following the show. This episode is brought to you in part by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. The A's just finished a 6-game homestand or road stand or neutral stand, depending on how you look at it, and go 2-4 facing the Padres and the Mets. The 2-4 record brings the A's overall record to 6-10 on the year. And while the record does seem a bit gray, if you really keep things into perspective, it's not as bad as you think. 9 of the 16 games were against the Cubs, Padres, and Mets, 3 of baseball's best teams. On top of that, the American League is down this year, with the A's only 3.5 games out of the Western lead and 2.5 games out of a wild card spot. Now, it may be a little early to be talking about that type of stuff, but that gives you an idea of how bad the American League is. The A's start a crucial road trip on Tuesday against the White Sox and on the weekend against the Brewers. Today, we have Todd Welter, host of Locked On White Sox, in a special crossover episode to help preview the series. Todd, what's happening?
What's going on, Booney? Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming on, man. Oh man, we have a couple franchises in I don't know, is the right word disarray?
I would say brothers in failure. I mean, or brothers in cheapness, or brothers in terrible ownership. I mean, you and I can both relate to each other about just how, we've been screwed over by owners, except for your ownership literally took the team out of Oakland, where our owner just one time threatened to go to Tampa Bay, and then they still built a terrible stadium that the Rays may or may not ever play in again.
Well, you guys won a series this weekend, so you guys got us beat there.
Yeah, and don't be expecting to be getting right, because, I mean, the Boston Red Sox television crew, they were talking some serious smack coming into the series. They thought, hey, this can't come at a better time. We're going to get right. And then the White Sox go and proceed to take them to the woodshed on Friday with an 11-1 victory. Sean Newcomb, I think they should have realized who's pitching. Like Sean Newcomb, the only reason why he's on that rotation is because of how banged up the Boston's rotation is. And then on Saturday, they actually come from behind. And basically, I know we're going to talk about Luis Robert Jr. in a little bit, but he basically beats them by themselves. He drives in the 2-run homer, draws a walk and then gets all the way home in the 9th inning for the come behind victory. And then they almost pull off the sweep. But you know what? I'm not going to get greedy, because I'll take a series win already in April, when I think I had to wait until like late April for the White Sox to finally win a series last year. So take the win.
I don't know
what
to make of this White Sox game. I mean, it's team. So you guys start the season 2-2 and then lose 8 in a row, then come back and beat a good Boston team in a 3-game set. Is this something where you're like, hey, let's get a little momentum, let's get something going, or we just don't have the horses?
They don't have the horses. That's the thing. And they obviously, for some reason, can actually hit home runs at Wright Field, where they can't hit home runs anywhere else. That's what happened. And now that they kind of ran into the same buzz saw that the A's ran into in terms of their schedule. They play the Angels and the Twins at home, and the Twins were really scuffling at that, and they almost beat the Twins in that series, let them off the hook in the 6th inning, and then they proceed to lose the next 8, but they had to go to Detroit, and Detroit was just crushing everybody. They even beat the Yankees at home, and then they got to go to Cleveland for their first home series of the season, because Cleveland had to back up 9 games just to complete the renovations. So they ran into a tough stretch of schedule. They didn't have the horses. Their lineup is still terrible. I mean, Lenyn Sosa is their leading average guy with 217 in terms of OPS. Just so you guys know, where do I got it? I lost it there. Their 5 top OPS guys, they're all on the injured list. So that just shows you what's going on right now with the White Sox. And then their bullpen has just been absolutely had a stretch where they were just not getting outs. They were not throwing strikes. They were walking guys. And Mike Clevenger, for example, walked in the only run against the Guardians in a series. So that's kind of things. But then, they come back home. They start hitting home runs. They run into Sean Newcomb, and Luis Robert Jr. finally hits a home run. So maybe it's just they're a home
first
team.
Of the year. Yeah. What are we looking at as far as pitching for Tuesday through Thursday? Is it going to be Burke and Perez?
It's going to be Burke, Cannon, and Martin. So Perez, how they set it up was they put Perez more as the 4th starter, just only in terms of they wanted him to go against the Twins. So that's the only reason why he is the 4th starter. Burke was the opening day starter because he did earn in spring training. He had that great cameo, 4-game cameo. Yes. But then what he's running into, and this is where A's fans might be able to have a little bit of a, hey, you might be able to get right in one way. Burke and Cannon are going through now baseball coming for them. Burke's problem is he's going to be he hangs his slider, his curve a little bit too much over the zone. And a lot of teams are now figuring that out. Wait for him, slider or curve. He's going to hang one, and I'm going to crush the country mile. Cannon's case, they realize he's a junk ball pitcher. He gets ground balls, and he wants ground balls early in the count because he does not have a real solid put away pitch. He doesn't have a bat that, a pitch that's going to miss bats. So now teams are just like, either let's jump on the, maybe the strikes that he's going to give us early, or we're just going to be super patient. We're going to, spit at the stuff that he's throwing us to try to get us on ground balls. And we're going to drive once he has to throw us a strike, we're going to drive that strike.
Got it. A's are counting with Jeffrey Springs, who we traded for in the offseason, had the huge 2022 with the Rays. Looked like one of the best pitchers in left-handed pitchers in the American League. Then had Tommy John surgery, and we really don't know what we're getting out of Springs right now. He had a great opening start he had a terrible spring training, a great first start against the Mariners. It might have been more of a bad Mariners lineup than actually Jeffrey Springs. And then he's got hit pretty hard in the last couple starts. Then we're Osvaldo Bido is going to go on Wednesday. And then JP Sears, who I thought was our best pitcher before he, pitched against the Mets on Friday. But again, we've gone against some good teams. We're 6-10. We don't really have a home field advantage. I don't know who we are right now. I don't mind the losses. We got out-competed this weekend against the Mets. They just played a lot harder than us. They're a lot better than us already. And that's kind of something you could always defend with, like a Mark Kotsay teams are going to compete. And it didn't seem like they really, really did. Once Severino went out, it was a 1-0 game. It turned into an 8-0 game once the bullpen came in. Give me a little on the lineup. What are we looking at as far as I like this Baldwin kid. I like him a lot.
Yeah, Brooks Baldwin, to me, they're although the thing is, they're looking at him more, I think, in a super utility role, kind of like that Ben Zobrist role in terms of whenever their next great team is, because they've actually had to put him in the outfield because their outfield is completely banged up. Andrew Benintendi, Mike Tauchman, Austin Slater, all on the injured list. And that's one of the reasons why the White Sox lost to Boston on Sunday, was because they had Baldwin playing right field. He just misplays the ball, drops, and 2 RBI, 2 run score. So while he's not a natural outfielder, he at least has had some reps in the outfield. So that's kind of where they actually have had to put him, because they just got nobody else really that can play. I mean, they got Greg Jones, who's a speedster from Colorado, but he's never really done anything at the majors yet. They've got Jorge Palacios, I think, Jose Palacios. I don't even know. His last name is Palacios. That's just all you need to know. They got him in the outfield. So they've just been using Baldwin more in the outfield because they just want to get his left-handed, his switch hitting bat into the lineup. and he's the one that drove in the game-winning run off of Aroldis Chapman on Saturday. So,
Right.
yeah, I'm kind of excited. And plus, not that, the reason why Sox fans have to kind of get a little bit excited was he raked in the minors, and he wasn't a guy that, was really highly touted, but he just kept producing. Brought up at first, I thought, oh my gosh, here's another, Zach Remillard that the White Sox always produce. And he's been showing some stuff in the beginning of the season where now you're like, maybe he might be the shortstop of the future, because their top shortstop prospect, Colson Montgomery, he's hitting under 100 in AAA. But at the same time, just how Will Venable has been deploying Baldwin, I think they're more envisioning this is our super utility guy. He's going to be in the lineup every day, but we're going to have him in the right. We're going to have him in the outfield. We're going to have him at second. We're going to have him at short. When it's just put him at short and match him up with Chase Mydroth.
And when we come back, I want to talk about the famous player that you guys seem to be keeping and getting rid of every single year, which seems like to be a common theme with the A's, and Luis Robert Jr. up next. Looking for a snack that's both delicious and nutritious? Check into a good source of protein with Wonderful Pistachios. Wonderful Pistachios is one of the highest protein nuts. Each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they are packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to help keeping you feeling fuller longer. Personally, I love the no shells variety. It's the perfect grab and go snack for busy days, whether I'm snacking at my desk, on a road trip, or just need a quick protein boost. They are always my go-to. And if you love cracking open every shell for that satisfying crunch, the in-shell options are a classic favorite. The fact that Wonderful Pistachios is a complete protein, providing all 9 essential amino acids. How these little green wonders pack a protein punch. No shells, Wonderful Pistachios for that grab and go ease. The satisfying crack of opening each shell, it's like snack meditation. Whether you're running between meetings or dropping off the kids, Wonderful Pistachios are snack that works as hard as you do. Get snacking and get cracking with the snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more. Todd, tell me about Luis Robert Jr. It seems like the White Sox had 2 great players. I mean, Luis Robert Jr. just 2 years ago had MVP votes. I believe it was in 23 or 22, 38 bombs, 80 RBIs, 12th in MVP voting. And then all of a sudden, now for the last 2 years, he looked like your typical 5-tool type of guy. He seemed like the type of guy that was going to go 30-30 every year. And since then, trade rumors last year, he's going to go, he's staying. You've had him since 2017. Every time I go into a year in Major League Baseball, I think of the White Sox, I think of Luis Robert Jr. and what a force he is. But it just seems like, as of late, he hasn't been that guy.
Well, he's a notoriously slow starter. That's the first thing. He even admits he hates playing in the cold weather. He's got, I believe, under 200 average in April for his career. So he just hates that. What really robbed him in 2024 after his amazing 2023 season, when he hit when he almost basically should have won the MVP had Shohei Ohtani not been in the American League and the White Sox lost 100 games. Sure. And it was also his first year that he actually ever played over 100 games. He played 145. Last year, though, strained his right adductor muscle, and you could just tell he never got his legs out, his legs under from him when he came back, and he just struggled mightily. And, I don't know, the GM Chris Getz is saying it was basically the injury. I don't know if also the losing grinded on him maybe, but then again, he came into this offseason, came into the season saying, this is my team. So if you're making that bold, proclamation that this is my team, I'm the guy, I don't think the losing is actually really wearing on you, as some people thought. So I just think he wasn't healthy. He's trying to stay healthy. They're trying to rest him a little bit more this season in terms of not asking him to play center field as much. They're going to DH him some days. They might even play him in left or right. They haven't done that yet, but they are talking about DH, off days, that type of stuff. But he is a notoriously slow starter. So actually, the benchmark that I'm looking at for Luis Robert Jr. is to see if he's going to actually still have a successful season is when they go to wherever the A's are playing. I know I can't say Sacramento. Whoa. I just said Sacramento. I just said Sacramento.
No, it's ATHs. Is that ATHs?
Yeah, when they go play the ATHs in the
In ATH. I don't know where we're at. Yeah.
in the capital of California, can we use that maybe? I'll look at that because obviously there should be warmer weather, and if he's playing well in warmer weather, then I think that'll be an indication. If he's struggling still, then yes, I'm worried that this could be another bad season.
The White Sox looking to re-sign him? Are they going to look to extend him? What's their deal with that? I was surprised and not surprised with regard to Crochet. I kind of saw the writing on the wall because last year they wouldn't let him go past 4 innings. Once he hit 4 innings, that was a wrap. He came out of the game. And then, but Crochet to me is a dominant guy. What's the deal with Robert? Were you pissed at Crochet? Did you see something like that happening? Not pissed at Crochet, but him moving along.
I was. So the problem with the White Sox is the next competitive team might not be until as early as 2027, as some are projecting with the farm system that they have. And Crochet's contract, club control was going to end in 2026. So it's just 2 ships passing in the night because the White Sox owner, again, and A's fans can relate to this, doesn't pay for pitching. Although you guys deserted us in that by signing Severino, but
we had to get to so we could participate in the old revenue sharing. I mean, there was a part to it.
Or avoid a grievance from the union too. I mean,
exactly.
like that. And I'm waiting for the union to
that 105 million. So
I'm waiting for the union to do the same thing with the White Sox.
Well, I'm glad we're paying $10 million a year for Leclerc. That's awesome. That's really working out. I mean, I don't know what's more, his salary this year or his ERA. It's close.
Yeah, but hey, you had to pay it to get the revenue share. I understand that, but for the owner, he just was not interested in giving an extension talk. The rumor was before the trade deadline, the White Sox made a run. They couldn't even come close. Well, Crochet even said they barely engaged him, and you could see why when he just signed for $170 million. The White Sox and the A's are the only 2 teams to still not give out a $100 million contract. So I understood why they had to trade Crochet. I wasn't a fan of it because I could see a dominant rotation with the top left-handed pitching prospect Noah Schultz. You got Hagen Smith down there. You've got Grant Taylor. You've got all these guys, but at the same time, their farm system was so depleted. I get why they did it because they just got this infusion of talent that have now 2 extra top 100 prospects. So I get it. With Luis Robert Jr., he's represented by Scott Boras. So him getting an extension, it ain't happening. Scott Boras is going to take Luis Robert Jr. to free agency. The other thing is Luis Robert Jr. might not be a member of the White Sox if he has another major injury, because this is his last year of guaranteed money. He's got 2 more club years for $20 million, which is what makes him relatively attractive on the trade market, but just because he only had that 2023 season. So that's the issue that the White Sox are dealing with. Again, 2 ships passing in the night, but the issue is the White Sox are trying to get 2023 value for Luis Robert Jr., and the rest of the league is saying, no, we're going to give you what we're seeing for his entire career, which is he had 1 good season. Yeah,
right. The other question I wanted to ask you, and I just thought of it. The offseason, new manager, correct?
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of talks, and for me, when I think about the White Sox, I think of Ozzie Guillen.
Mm-hmm.
Did you want to see Guillen get the job? What did he go for it, first of all? According to him, he did, and the White Sox kind of just shunned him, didn't even get an opportunity. What's the deal with Guillen?
So Guillen, he said he would. I mean, Guillen has always expressed that he would love to come back. I don't think he liked how things ended in 2011, where he basically tried to make a power play and then just basically quit with the 3 days left in the season, and the White Sox had to move on. I think that's always kind of he's wanted to make it. Yeah, lingered on him. But and I know he was, I've had his son on the show a few times, Ozzie Guillen Jr. If you need a good guest, get Ozzie Guillen Jr. on. He'll talk international ball with you. He'll fill. He's awesome. He's an awesome dude, and he will fill like 50 minutes for you. And I love you, Ozzie, if you're listening. But he was even saying, like, one of the things though that did irk Ozzie Guillen himself was he got beat out by Pedro Grifol for the job the last time, and he's like, what does that say about me? Although it turns out it just says that Pedro Grifol is an amazing interviewer, and that's it. Like that's all he does. He was great in the interview. He just had an amazing interview, and then we all saw how he was probably one of the worst managers in the history of baseball. I think what Getz was looking for was he was looking for more of a partner. and especially somebody that can help him in the front office decisions too. That's kind of what he was looking at. And when you look at Ozzie Guillen and compare it to Will Venable, there's no disrespect to Ozzie Guillen. Ozzie Guillen is more of a clubhouse guy, keeping the vibe, the HR side. But if you're looking for a partner, you're looking for a guy that's going to help you make these decisions, make these evaluations on who is going to be part of the core of our team. When you got a guy who is his first job ever outside after baseball was working for Theo Epstein, you take that guy. I mean, Will Venable has had some of the best apprenticeships. Ozzie Guillen had a great apprenticeship with Bobby Cox, but Will Venable also had a great apprenticeship with, again, working for Theo for 1 year. Then he works for Joe Madden. Then he works for Alex Cora, and then he works for Bruce Bochy.
Pretty good.
Yeah,
it's pretty good. What's the fan base like right now in Chicago? I mean, you guys haven't been hearing any sell the team chants there. So are they frustrated? Are they angry? It seems like you guys do have a good crop of talent coming up, but that doesn't seem to cut it with fans.
Well, I mean, A's fans can understand what the sell the team chants too. I mean, sell the team. It hasn't been as loud. It'll probably be it'll probably come out at sometime in June or July. They had 30,000 fans show up on Saturday. So that shows you, but it was also a giveaway. But the White Sox also have sweet giveaways. We'll see what the crowd is like, obviously, when the A's come to town. I mean, Brent Rooker is an amazing draw, and I want to ask you a question back on that if we have a chance.
Yeah.
But, in terms of, I don't think he has the name power to be like somebody be like, I'm going to come out on a Tuesday or Wednesday night on the south side of Chicago. But on a weekend, I think that's what you want to look at. Are they still drawing on the weekends? Because people will still like to come down on a weekend if it's a nice day. They've got some of the best ballpark food you will ever eat in your life. It's probably one of the best restaurants in all of Chicago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing food. But the fan base they're apathetic, or they're angry, or they're frustrated. It's basically a toxic relationship. So A's fans, you can relate.
Yeah, they know that. That's for sure. Absolutely. No, I hear you. When we come back, I want to get to some predictions and kind of break down the matchups, if that's okay with you. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in, your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app, it's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place, so you stop just managing your money and start building wealth. When I started using Monarch, I realized just how much I was spending on food delivery. Now, I budget smarter and save more. Instead of juggling multiple apps, you can use Monarch to check your finances, track spending, and even plan long-term goals. Managing money with your partner is smoother than ever. You can track shared and personal accounts, set goals, and stay on the same page without the stress. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONMLB for half off your first year. So I don't know if this series is necessarily going to be star power. We have a lot of good young talent, that's the thing with baseball, right? When you look at sports like NFL and NBA, the draft is glorified, right? So when you have young rookies that have drafted in the first round, they're getting a lot of attention, right? Baseball's different. So when you look at like the A's, you have a up the middle in Jacob Wilson, who was a 2023 first round pick, 6th overall. Second base, Max Muncy, who's the 2022 first round pick, number 21 overall. You have Tyler Soderstrom, 2021, number 28 overall, first round pick. You have Shea Langoliers, who in 2019 or 2020, we got him from the Braves in the Matt Olson trade, who's 9 overall. JJ Bleday in center field, number 4 overall from the Marlins. So we got young talent all over the place that were drafted in the first round and so forth. But as far as the real big name right now, it's Rooker, who is struggling immensely. I believe after today's game, he's hitting under 200. He got off to a slow start last year and then had the huge towards the end of June, he started picking up. In July and August, he was absolutely on fire. One of the best hitters in all of baseball. But Lawrence Butler's gotten off to a slow start. He had 3 hits today, which is great, and a losing contest against the Mets. So it should be interesting. We got a free agent in Springs going in, not a free agent, excuse me. Our Jeffrey Springs, who we traded for, going Tuesday. And who's the White Sox expected to start on Tuesday?
Burke. So that
Burke,
will be interesting because, again, he's got to clear the hurdle now. If baseball's come for him, can he adjust back? He's had 2 terrible starts the last couple of times out after that amazing opening day start and that 4-game cameo last year. And as I say, the White Sox they're at the beginning portions of their build. And that's why I wanted to ask you, and thank you for covering that, because I was like, how do the A's at least start to get the needle pointing up? How do they get out of that? Because they were at 50 wins 2 seasons ago. And it almost, thankfully, variance went their way so that they avoided the 121 losses, where the White Sox, how do they get to the 121 losses was not only were they terrible like the A's, but they had variance just went absolutely against them. And my other question I just want to know is how the heck do you find a Brent Rooker? How?
So going into this season, I picked the A's to win the West. And not only that, I picked them to run away with it. And here's the reason why. Everyone thought I'm nuts. If I say you're just trolling, you're saying this and that. Here's the reason I said that. In July and August last year, when they really had their only complete roster and that played together over a stretch of 52 games, they were 29-23, which was the 7th best record in all of baseball, I believe. They gave away 3 games, literally gave away 3 games. Should have been 32-19. Everyone has that story, but I'm going to use it because the numbers favor me. That's one of the best records in the 2nd or 3rd best record in the American League, right? They were on fire. They beat the Mets in New York when they were in the middle of getting to the playoffs. They beat the Phillies in Philadelphia. Again, these are all during the types of time where teams are good teams need wins in order to get to the playoffs. They beat Houston 2 out of 3, and they were better this year. So that's the reason. But I did say that the stars need to be stars. Mm-hmm. Brett Rooker needs to be star out of Mississippi State. And that's kind of how the A's roster has always been. They've always gotten the guys that other teams have given up on. A Brett Rooker, a J.J. Bleday, Shea Langoliers we traded for. We gave up Olsen in that deal, I believe it was. And we have a kid by the name of Nick Kurtz who's sitting in the minor league. I think he's the number 4 overall prospect out of Wake Forest. He's tearing it up right now. Pitching has been an issue, okay? Coming in the spring training, in the offseason, it's an issue. It's an issue now. We signed Severino to $20-something million a year. Jacob Wilson's been awesome. He just had a 16-game hit streak snap today. So I still believe in this team. I still think we're going to be really, really good. Thank God we're in the American League. But stars are going to have to be stars. Brett Rooker is going to have to be Brett Rooker. Lawrence Butler is going to have to be Lawrence Butler. And right now, neither of them are it. When you're depending on the back of Jacob Wilson, and Tyler Soderstrom has been tearing it up too. He had 6 home runs. He was leading the American League. Tied with American in all of baseball with home runs coming into the series. Had a terrible series. We got a good team. I still believe in our team. I still think we're very, very talented. But players are going to have to play like players, and they're going to have to play with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder. And pitching needs to hold up. So right now we're not it. We're 6-10. Did we play against some of the baseball's best teams? Yeah. We don't have a home. We don't have a fan base.
We got a temporary fan base. I mean, people in Sacramento, I think they're coming out. I mean, because there's nothing else to do.
No, we're Sacramento. I lived in Sacramento for a little while. A long time ago, I had season tickets to the Kings. And you're right, they are a great fan base. Problem is Fisher made a huge mistake of not taking the Sacramento name. That was stupid. They should have been embracing the fans of Sacramento. Okay. Instead, it almost pushed them away. So now you have a situation where it's tough on a city, right? Because you already have 3 years you're in Sacramento, and the city knows, well, okay, they're only here temporary, and then they're leaving. And then you take the name away, and you went out of your way to do it. You know what I mean? Because the given idea, without even thinking twice, is Sacramento A's. But he went out of his way not to include the name, which shows you how out of touch with reality he is. Would I rather have them be in Sacramento right now than Oakland? Yeah, I would. I mean, believe it or not, just because Oakland was a freaking nightmare with the sell the team and the reverse boycott and all that. I just, what they should have done if they were going to do that, just go straight to Vegas and play in the minor league stadium. But it's been rough, man. It's been rough as far as a fan base. It's getting to the players. I think a little bit. They're 2-7 at home again against some of baseball's better teams, but I mean they're not competitive for most of it. So I'm almost rather be on the road. We'll see what happens, but it's going to be a critical series. I don't know what's going to happen this series. I'm hoping we get a game, maybe 2. So we'll see.
I'll take a win wherever I can get it. And that's the reason why I was asking you about Rooker is right now the White Sox, they're so early in their build. They're thinking they're trying to find some guys that have been cast off too. And right now it hasn't really been working out with Nick Maton. That's where they're at right now. So I don't think Nick Maton's going to be the next Brent Rooker. But on the White Sox side, at least their pitching has, for the most part, been stabilized. You guys are going to miss Shane Smith and Martin Perez, though, who have been absolutely dominant. But if Davis Martin,
thank you.
Yeah, Davis Martin, though, he came, it looked like baseball came for him in Detroit, came back, pitched wonderful against the Red Sox. So if his kick change is working, even if teams are sitting on it, if it's working, he can be almost downright unhittable. So really what it comes down to is, can the A's get to Burke or can they get to Cannon? Because again, that's just what's been happening right now. Cannon and Burke, they need to make the adjustment. Now to the adjustment. Right now, they haven't passed that.
Cannon's game 2?
Yeah, Cannon's game 2. And again, he's a junk ball pitcher, and he was effective last year and getting, because the book really wasn't much out on him. And now a lot of teams understand, even if he gets up on you 0-2, he just doesn't have that total shut down, I'm going to strike you out pitch. So, all you got to do is then foul off, or he's going to throw a lot more balls. Cause again, he's trying to induce weak contact. And where do you get weak contact in? Balls either out of the zone or balls down. And now they're just waiting on him.
The A's are going to attack first pitch. That's what they like doing. First pitch. They attack early in the count. I'll give you an idea. They went against Kota Senga today, who hasn't gotten through, who's been known to throw a lot of pitches. Senga had 79 pitches through 7 innings today. I thought he was going to throw a complete game. I mean, it was the first pitch they say, but that has worked out for the A's in the past, where they can get in that kind of groove and hit the ball out of the park and hit the ball in gaps and have big innings. They had that against the Padres against Dylan Cease. They scored 6 innings in the first off him by doing that. But then you have an outing like today, where it's tough. Rooker's having a tough one so far. They just extended him through 2030, I think. Struck out 22 times so far. So he's having a tough go of it, but hopefully it works out. I'm gonna predict A's get to a 3. That's going out of the limb these days for me.
I'm just gonna, like I said, after enduring 2024, I'm just grateful if the White Sox ever, when they get the wins when they can. So I'm just gonna take. Let's hope the White Sox win. That's all I can say. I'm at that point where I'm just glad that they somehow won a series in early April. So we've got progress. I'm just looking for progress because for the White Sox, this season doesn't matter. It's all about the prospects, developing them. I'll wait until 2027.
How's the weather supposed to be? We just played in Colorado in a snowstorm. It worked out okay for us. So how's the weather supposed to be?
I believe it's supposed to be again in the 50s. Let me just check really, really quick for you there. Yeah. They got 3-day outlook. Jeez. Sorry about this.
Gramed out.
We got 53 on Tuesday, 49 and 64.
Excellent. So. I was hoping for rain. Hey, Todd, thank you so much. Man, we'll see what happens. Hey, hang in there. I'll be rooting for you guys. second favorite team to the A's because it seems like we're going through the same crap.
I've always had a little bit of love for the A's, except for 1990 when you took away that playoff appearance from us. But that's because that was a stacked lineup, so really you didn't take it away. It's just if they had it was Boston who took that away because of the stupid rules, and they didn't have the wild card in the 1990.
They didn't have the wild card. Now it's like Jesus. I mean,
yes, but the A's have always been our brother in bad ownership, not spending, and Ricky Henderson will always be the man. Rest in peace.
Player ever. Yeah, one of the most electric. I'll still look at old highlights on YouTube and like old games, and still when he gets on first base, I still get the butterflies. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Closest thing he's like Michael Jordan as far as baseball. Thank you for making Locked On A's and like Locked On White Sox your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the all new Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night, all season long. Get local analysis on a national scale. Find MLB Game Night on Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcasts.